Or 3 times.
Hey, and welcome to WTV. I'm Amanda Gallagher.
And I'm Alan April.
It's hard to believe, but this is our last episode of WTV until the new year.
Yeah, these last couple months have flown by, but it's not over just yet. We've got some great stories to share with you today.
But first, let's check in with Maria Martelli for this week's news. Maria?
Thanks, Amanda. Political and military leaders from 60 countries were in town last weekend for the Halifax International Security Forum, but not everyone was happy about the visit. WTV's Alan April spoke to people protesting the event.
These drummers are beating for a change.
Rad Rhythms is a political, anti-capitalist, anti-sexist, anti-racist, anti-oppression drumming group, and we play at political events.
On Saturday, Rad Rhythms joined a crowd of dozens to protest the 6th annual Halifax International Security Forum.
We oppose the Halifax Security Forum just as we oppose war, as we oppose Harper and the Conservatives spending the money that should be going to Canadians and poor in Canada on killing innocent civilians overseas. And I think we see all these things as connected.
The protest was held outside the Westin Hotel in an area known as Cornwallis Park. But on Saturday, it was referred to by a different name, Halifax Peace and Freedom Park. Before the protest began, protesters covered a statue of Edward Cornwallis, the controversial founder of Halifax. Isaac Sani is an organizer of No Harbor for War, one of the groups behind the protest.
No Harbor for War has a connotation of the Halifax Harbor not being a base for war against other peoples, but also it's a broad metaphor as well, that no war should be given harbor in Canada. Canada should be a genuine factor for peace.
Sani says Canadians should feel comfortable speaking out against the war.
People feel disempowered. There is this massive disinformation and complete distortion of what's unfolding in the Middle East and Ukraine and elsewhere.
Police stood guard in front of the Westin and watched the protest from afar, but it remained peaceful.
Demonstrations like this aren't going to fundamentally change anything, but they're a spot that we can jump off from in terms of, transforming our everyday lives.
For their part, organizers of the Security Forum say their vision is one of a more peaceful, cooperative, and secure world, and that the event was a success. Students at Dal now have access to high-tech currency. The university is the first in Atlantic Canada to get a Bitcoin ATM on campus. Bitcoin is the world's first decentralized digital currency. It's based on a network like BitTorrent, a file sharing system.
This is a direct access for our students to actually have a connection into this Bitcoin infrastructure. They can come here, it's right on campus. They can exchange for Bitcoin right here, or they can even get cash back.
The Crypto Club has been working on this project for almost a year, and they are in talks with many merchants to introduce Bitcoin to their business. So far, no business in HRM will accept the Bitcoin. Right now, 1 Bitcoin is worth around 400 Canadian dollars. A singer from Cuba is holding workshops for local musicians at the Music Room in Halifax. This is the first time well-known Cuban artist Augusto Enriquez has offered classes here in Halifax. They are to help teach singers how to perform on a stage and understand how difficult it is to sing and to build confidence.
For the professional, is some tips and tricks that I have and I want to reveal it all and give them the possibility to use it if they want.
Enriquez has over 30 years of experience and has shared the stage with artists such as Luciano Pavarotti, Sting, LaToya Jackson, among many others. All levels of singers were invited to participate, and Enriquez will be back in February to offer more classes. Some NSGU members were outside of the Nova Scotia Hospital protesting against Bell 1. The bill passed last October, and it dictates what union the staff will belong to and their contracts. Kelly Murphy says it violates their democratic rights.
And the members, regardless of what union they're in, they deserve the right to choose what union they are in, and they deserve a vote for who represents them.
The group of protesters was outside of the hospital during the lunch hour last Tuesday. Murphy says the protests happen around the city to express their displeasure to the bill. Arbitration will start on December 9, and members expect the decision in the new year. Christmas is getting closer, and many fundraisers have been happening around the city. The boat drive is organized by the Westfall Cold Harbor Fire Department. The firefighters collected money for Christmas daddies outside of the Halifax Shopping Center. This is the third year the department is organizing the boat drive, and they want to help children and give them a good Christmas.
I expect there will be a few children to have a smile on their face Christmas morning with the funds that are raised here today.
All proceeds will be donated this first Saturday of December. And that's the news for today. Back to you, Alan and Amanda.
Thanks, Maria.
Coming up after the break, ice skates, hockey history, and the King of Spain, Graham McDougall will tie it all together.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to WTV. It's that time of the year again, exam time. And it looks like everyone's hard at work here at the NSCC Waterfront campus.
Environmentalist David Suzuki wants Canadians to demand change. He wants all levels of government to recognize our right to live in a healthy environment.
And his Blue Dot campaign has some enthusiastic supporters right here in Halifax. WTV's Valentine King-Beza has more.
Without clean food, clean water, and clean air, humans cease to exist.
It's called the Blue Dot Tour, and followers say Canadians don't have rights to a healthy environment, and they are looking to make a change.
110 nations around the world do, but we don't. Our water is not protected, our land is not protected, and neither is our soil.
Under the David Suzuki Foundation, they are going across Canada showing levels of environmental hazards. Halifax Poet Laureate L. Jones says there is a cause for concern.
If you go on many reserves, there's no adequate sewage, there's no water, people don't have adequate housing. So some people in this country have very good access, but when you look at poor communities, and particularly again like northern Indigenous communities, there's not the same access at all.
This is something even the younger generation want to have a say.
It's good to have fresh water. It's good to have good food.
I think as young people come up, as corporations catch on to that, as more people advocate, I do think we're seeing a shift in consciousness, and now it's just putting that into action.
Event organizer Katie Perfect says Halifax is up to the task, and this event is just one of their moves.
There's also people on campuses, in their neighborhoods, collecting petition signatures and really getting the word out there that we don't have these rights, but we can.
These volunteers say the goal is within reach.
I'm confident. I think the time that I've put in so far, I've gathered a whole bunch of signatures. I haven't had one person say no. So I know that the people are out there who want this. Everybody wants this to be a part of their daily lives, right?
Right now they say they have 2,000 signatures in Halifax, and their goal is to have at least 10,000 signatures by April next year in order to instate the Declaration of Halifax that will lead to a federal bill on environmental rights in Canada. Valentine King-Beza, WTV News, Halifax.
Now I hear Graham McDougall has a little local history lesson for us today. Graham?
Thanks, Amanda. Many people know that Nova Scotia has a rich hockey heritage, but what's less known is that Dartmouth is the ice skate capital of the world. It all began with Star Manufacturing Company. This year marks 75 years since Star stopped producing its famous Star skate. Here's a look back on Star skates.
Revolutionized skating and enabled hockey to develop and grow on the Dartmouth Lakes.
These stones in downtown Dartmouth mark the spot where the Star manufacturing plant once stood. Star opened its doors in 1861 as a nail factory. In 1863, they made their first Star ice skate. The business grew. Millions of pairs were bought all around the world. Martin Jones wrote about Star in his best-selling book, Hockey's Home.
So the Star skate really made skating popular, and it's not a coincidence that the first documented games of hockey played on Lake Banook and Oathill Lake, they used Star skates.
Jones says by the early 1900s, Star had sold over 19 million pairs of skates. He says in today's numbers, that would be like selling 70 million pairs.
The King of Spain had a gold pair of Star skates.
The revolutionary clip-on design allowed skaters to turn faster. Paul Barries played hockey his whole life.
I grew up, like most kids in Dartmouth, I grew up playing on Lake Banook, and Star Manufacturing was in the forefront of making hockey sticks and skates, and so it's an important part of our heritage. It's kind of an honor and it's a privilege, and more people should know about it. I don't think they do.
The plant used water from the Shubenacadie Canal to power its turbine. It was considered one of the most important engineering projects in Canada at the time. Gordon Stevens owns Lost Cod Clothing Company. They make Starscape branded clothing. He says it's important to keep the memory of the company alive.
It's really letting people know that we used to make things here and that we still can. And so by telling the story, by letting people know that we had these great products that were made here, I'm hoping that we'll make great products once again.
Star stopped making skates once World War II broke out. Right now, part of the plant is still preserved underground, and the government has announced plans to excavate the site so people can once again see the foundation of this important part of Dartmouth's history. Back to you.
That was a really interesting story. Thanks, Graham. Attracting the younger generation is something many churches across North America are struggling with. Most congregations are small and aging.
Now a new group in Halifax is offering a different kind of Sunday experience, one that offers lots of community but leaves out the religion. WTV's Duncan McNeil takes a look.
Steeples, crosses, and stained glass windows. All things you won't find at this Sunday congregation.
This is just sort of another kind of community that people can belong to.
The Sunday Assembly is a group that started in the UK in 2013. Members meet to celebrate life and offer the community aspect of church without the religion. And it's new to Halifax. The group meets one Sunday a month at the Alderney Gate Public Library. Assemblies consist of guest speakers, poetry, and singing.
Whereas when you come together for a common purpose, whether that be worshiping a deity or celebrating life, that gives people something to connect over and to bond over, and singing especially.
This is the Assembly's third meeting, and the reaction is a positive one.
I think it went really well, actually. It was a lot of fun, and I laughed a lot, and had a good time.
The coat rack may have been a little light, but co-organizer Matthew Ritchie isn't getting hung up on the numbers.
The turnout was a little on the low side, but the enthusiasm by the end of it more than made up for it.
16% of the world's population identify as non-religious, and most of them don't attend a church-like service. Ritchie says they should give this group a try.
There's lots of people that think that maybe they don't need this. Well, until they come here and experience it for themselves, I will bet that they will realize this is something they actually desire.
Colin Lee says he hopes the Assembly's members will continue to grow.
So I would like to see it grow. It would be really neat if we could fill this entire room with people singing.
The Sunday Assembly is 100% volunteer run, paying for costs out of pocket. The group says they're currently looking for volunteers who can help out in any way they can. The next Sunday Assembly will take place in January of the new year. Duncan McNeil, WTV News, Dartmouth.
It's great to see people finding new ways to connect. And don't forget to connect with us. Let us know what you think about our stories on Facebook or Twitter at WTV Media.
And coming up next, we've got a story about chocolate. But is it bittersweet?
Stick around and find out. It's a gloomy day out there again today, but good news, it looks like last night's storm missed us. On Friday, the Halifax film Heartbeat had its first screening in local theaters. I got to see it and talk to people about the importance of public support for local films. Check it out.
Musician and poet Tanya Davis plays Justine in Andrea Dorfman's Heartbeat. She's stuck in life, and the film follows her journey back to her guitar, her music, and her heart. After a successful festival run, Heartbeat has made its way home for an official theatrical release. Davis says the event is surreal.
There's like a poster and showing times, and that people are there just like on a Friday night to go watch a movie, except it's our movie. So it's awesome, so fun.
Almost 100 people attended the opening, which included a Q&A with the cast, and was followed by a party at the Fickle Frog Pub, where fans, cast, and crew mingled.
It's really excited to come out
on the opening night and to see the film. And I'm just a really passionate believer in Canadian film and in telling local stories. So it was lovely to see a film that did such an incredible job profiling Halifax.
Dorfman and Davis have collaborated before. In 2009, their video poem, How to Be Alone, went viral. Dorfman is currently in India promoting Heartbeat and couldn't attend the Halifax screening. But Davis says she would have loved it.
Andrea would be so happy, and she's really good at Q&A, and the fact that it was like a nice crowd in the theater tonight, she would feel really happy about. And Andrea, in her opinion, the film's already been a success just because we got to make it.
Public support is key to the success of local films. Canadian movies often don't make it past their first weekend due to low turnout, and Heartbeat is up against several Hollywood blockbusters.
There's a movement with buying local food. There should be a movement with seeing local art.
All I really want is to love and be loved. Why else?
Heartbeat has been called a love letter to Halifax, and Halifax loved it back.
And you can still catch the film at Cineplex Park Lane.
So Alan, when was the last time you sent an old-fashioned letter?
Wow, probably writing home from summer camp when I was 13, 14. It's been a while.
Yeah, me too. And a new organization in Halifax wants people to put down their phones and pick up a pen. Here's Kaya Sparks with more.
Lauren Abbott is the founder of Halifax Snail Mail Society, which she started a month ago. Tonight is the first gathering that creates a space for people to write letters.
Anyone who opens up a mailbox and sees a handwritten letter inside is going to be excited. I don't know anyone who hates getting snail mail.
I love receiving things in the post that isn't a bill.
Unlike email or text that you receive instantly, snail mail is something that takes time to travel. Once delivered, it's an unexpected, "Hello, I'm thinking of you."
It's really different if you send an email or a text or you sit down to write a letter. Just different things come out. Like you think differently, you write down things that you wouldn't. It's kind of interesting to see how it evolves, and yeah, it's just really special.
Abbott creates paper, postcards, magnets, and provides materials so that anyone can be creative when making snail mail for a friend.
So I've got a friend who lives in New Zealand, and he's been away since the summer, and he's never been away for Christmas. So I'm making him a Facebook because he's not on Facebook.
Abbott plans to host something like this monthly. All snail mail created at each gathering goes in a box so she can deliver the mail to the post office. This is how it works. You simply choose paper, you write a letter to a friend, seal it in an envelope, and drop it in the box. Snail Mail Society hopes that this will inspire more people to write more letters. Kaya Sparks, WTV News, Halifax.
So what's your worst nightmare?
Commitment?
Well, that's a story for a different day, but for many people, a global chocolate shortage is pretty high on the list.
And here's WTV's Katie Gordon with more.
Thanks, Amanda and Alan. Last week it was announced that in just 5 short years, chocolate demand could be higher than the actual chocolate supply. As a chocolate lover myself, I decided to do some investigating.
I don't think that you should be worried if you're a chocoholic.
Rousseau Chocolatier opened in South End, Halifax this past summer. It's owned and run by a husband and wife team who share a passion for the craft of making chocolates. They specialize in high-quality chocolate made at their shop.
Chocolate is just an amazing product. It brings happiness to a lot of people, and when it's done right with 100% cocoa butter and premium ingredients, it's just an amazing thing to experience.
Of all people, you'd think they would be worried about the threat of the cocoa shortage. But she says they carefully learned all the facts before opening.
If I go back and I look at the cocoa production since the 60s, the curve in production has always steadily gone up.
And demand is high. Mars Incorporated and Barry Callebaut, two of the world's largest chocolate producers, say that in 2013, the world collectively ate about 70,000 tons more cocoa than what was actually produced.
Looking in the past, they've always kind of adapted themselves to be able to have enough chocolate to suffice the market.
A world mutual love for chocolate isn't just to blame. Dry weather in Ghana and the Ivory Coast has limited cultivation. Because of a worldwide increase from Rousseau Chocolatier's supplier, the company was forced to increase their prices by 10%.
For us to continue to have the reasonable prices, we still need to, obviously fluctuate our prices if we're getting a very big increase from our suppliers.
But for many people, nothing will stop them from getting their chocolate fix.
Absolutely nothing. Nothing at all.
The International Cocoa Organization says recent reports are overstated and extreme. They also said at this time there is no cause for alarm in regards to the availability of chocolate for consumers to enjoy. So thankfully for all you chocoholics out there like myself, you can breathe easy.
Thanks, Katie.
Now let's check in with our friends in first-year radio and television arts with what's happening in entertainment this weekend.
Here's Ellen Coles.
Welcome to WTV Entertainment. Here's what's going on around town. Get ready to enjoy some local folk country music. Today, the Jordan Musician Band released their new album titled The Pitch. The Cape Bretoners will be debuting the album tonight at the Carleton Music Bar. Tickets are $10 each and the show starts at 9 p.m. Looking for a Friday night out? Free Music Fridays is putting on one more concert for 2014. 3 bands will be playing this week at Casino Nova Scotia Harbourfront Lounge. Starting at 9 p.m., you can enjoy Raleigh and the Navy Brats, Scott Nix, and The Brood. For further details, visit CasinoNovaScotia.com. Also this Friday, the empowering global youth movement known as We Day is coming to Atlantic, Canada. 8,000 students and teachers from the Maritimes will take part in We Day on November 28th at the Scotiabank Centre. Speakers and performers include Jordan and Cardinal Official. If you want to get involved, go to weday.com for more information. This Saturday, enjoy the Night of Inspiration at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic. Celebrate those who've made contributions to the city's Turkish community and dance the night away. Last year, more than 300 people attended the event and had a blast. For more information, visit their Facebook page, The Night of Inspiration 2014. Looking for a unique Christmas present for that special someone? Then head to Pop-Up at the Christmas Shop, an event held by NASCAD students. You'll find handmade jewelry, paintings, ceramics, and textiles, all crafted by the students themselves. The event takes place at 1880 Hollis Street and runs all weekend. That's all for entertainment this week. I'm Ellen Coles, and back to you.
If you think My Little Ponies are just for kids, think again.
The toys and movies have been around since the 80s. But recently, more adults are becoming fans.
They're called bronies. WTV's Sam Tufts tells us more.
This is who you'd expect to see playing with My Little Ponies, but not anymore.
Being a brony to me is, one, enjoying that show, and you're pretty much open-minded to everyone around you.
Malcolm Jacquard is a brony. That's the name for men who are huge fans of My Little Pony, a toy franchise that began in 1983. The global brony community is estimated at 12 million people. Almost 300 of those people make up the Nova Scotia Bronies Facebook page.
I started getting hooked into the show, and I was kind of going through, I guess you could say, a dark time in my life where I had no friends up here. I spent most of my time just kind of tucked away in my room.
Malcolm and Nick DeForest belong to Nova Scotia Bronies. They get together every month in Halifax.
To get to see other people who have these same interests as you and who aren't just going to just disrespect you for what you like. And it's just all really fun, just a bunch of great people to hang around with.
Calvin Horn lives in Halifax, and he's the marketing director for BronyCon, an international fan convention held every year in the United States. Horn says bronies do more than collect the toys, movies, and books.
Making awesome artwork, and crafts and costumes, and kind of creating this whole universe outside of what there already was.
But it's not all rainbows and unicorns. Some people think it's weird that grown men are celebrating something meant for little girls. This Facebook page is called Mothers Against Bronies. Created, it says to warn people about the dangers bronies pose to children, but these bronies say they're just misunderstood.
You really shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and thinking bronies are just complete, well, creeps, if you would, is really not a way to go by. We're actually really nice people.
It's like, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta like ponies.
The next Nova Scotia Bronies meetup is December 20th. Sam Tufts, WTV News, Dartmouth.
Well, that's it for WTV today and for 2014. We'll be back with more stories in the new year.
But until then, you can view all of our past shows and stories on our website, waterfronttv.org.
And stay in the loop by following us on Facebook and Twitter at WTV Media.
Thanks for watching.
Good night and have a safe and happy holiday season.